Welcome back to Studio F on Fast Times Willy B. We'll be moving on to the Final Destination 3. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Rusty.
Welcome back to Fast Times Willy B. I'm Willy B. I've got Mo with me. And Mo, we continue through the Final Destination movies with Final Destination 3 from 2006.
Best year.
This is like prime
Yeah.
Mo and Will childhood. This is when we were getting... this is when I was really getting into horror. About that 7 to 10 years. I know that sounds probably pretty young for most people. That 7 to 10-year-old range is when I was really getting into horror. So this was the first Final Destination I watched. Was that the same for you? Or...
Yeah, I think we touched on that in the second episode,
Yeah.
which go watch if you haven't seen.
For sure.
But yeah, it's either the second or this one. I know this one for sure I had seen the most of.
Okay.
And a lot because it was on FX when I was a kid, and that's how I watched a lot of movies.
Yeah. Director-wise, we're back to James Wong, who did the original. Cast-wise, we have a couple recognizable faces in this one. We've got Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah.
Who has gone to do some more horror and other things. Also, if you're a Sky High fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before she got her most notable role, I think, Ramona Flowers,
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. I know you're a big Scott Pilgrim fan.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
And then we also got Ryan Merriman, who, another star in the realm of Disney.
A Disney Channel original star.
Yeah. Yeah, he, we got Luck of the Irish.
And Smart House.
Yeah. And we also have Halloween Resurrection. Got to throw it out there.
It's not a Disney original movie.
I know, but he's in it. But we'll start with the good. And I'm going to start once again with the premonition that we get at the beginning, which is the roller coaster stuff. I love the set design and the vibe you get from this amusement park that they're at. You get to quickly learn who our characters are. And it once again, it tugs on a real life fear that a lot of people have, which is getting on roller coasters, because what if they crash?
Yeah.
And so I think once again we start with just the first act of this amusement park madness, and it's another good start to this franchise and this film.
I do agree on that. Thing that I have for the good, which it's kind of maybe an odd one for the good, but you know how so far in the past installment in 2, it's primarily the person who has the vision that calls back to the first movie of how somebody had the same experience. In this one, we get kind of a change up.
Yeah.
Where we have Kevin's character, where we have him bring up the previous incidents with the highway pileup and Flight 180 to Wendy, who had it, and she's the one who doesn't believe it at first.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked that twist that, like, she wasn't the first one to go do the research and assume that what's going on to them is, like, what's happened in the past. That an outside source brought it to her first, and she was in denial of it, but then unfortunately had to accept the terms after seeing how it all went down.
Yeah. Once again, we add a couple extra kills in this movie. We've gone 5, 7 to 9. And I think once again we get some pushing it a little further with some of the kills, and we get some pretty unique ones that are cool when you're going into these movies really looking like, what are they going to come up with? And they did a good job there in the kill department, which once again at the end of the video we'll get into our rankings of the kills from Final Destination 3, but a lot of good ones in this movie. And honestly, I like this group of characters we get in this one. So once again, we're back to the model of the first one, where we have a group of friends, a group of classmates. And this time, I feel like we get them more band together than the first movies. So I like that they're kind of by each other's side for most of this movie. But yeah, I think we continue just each movie to get better and better here in this first 3 movies. And yeah, the third one did a great job again.
And again, just with the building up the kills, they've done so much better as the installments keep going on with building them up.
Yes.
Because sometimes they'll just be quick like that previously, but these ones we get such a heavy buildup on all of them, and then they'll take a complete left turn where we didn't expect, or it'll hit someone else that we did not think it was going to.
The other thing that's cool about this movie is, so the first one we get visions, the second one we get bad visions, and this one we get photography.
Yeah.
Which is cool too, because you touched on how she has the camera at this amusement park, and that's how they figure out who's next and how they might die. Is you get a little premonition in each photo. Like the one that's the most obvious is obviously Frankie's death with the fan behind him, and how he ends up meeting his demise. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I was gonna say his. I really liked because they were focusing on the wrong photo of him. And with his kill, there's kind of some stuff that I'll touch in the like meh or bad about, but especially the first one with Ashley and Ashlyn.
Oh my gosh.
That one, I was like, oh my god, that's
brutal.
Yeah, but the photos definitely being significant to everything, and how as they're just going around town trying to find everybody, they keep pointing out to things and being like, is this a clue? This has to be a clue towards it. This has to be.
Yeah.
But I do love that they have the photos for this one instead of just, kind of like in previous times where they just have to wait for the environment to provide the clue, or all they have to go off of is just the skeleton of like what order they were in the vision. Yeah.
I really like this one too, for its commitment to summer. So obviously this movie starts right before graduation. We get the graduation, and then our third act mostly takes place at like this like summer festival, which is another good set piece, set design, another good locale for just shooting this film. And you get some misdirection obviously with the fireworks, and then you get the horse scene, and I love the locations of this movie a lot. And just the commitment to summer that they have in this small town.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the misdirect, especially like with when they go to visit Ian and Aaron at work, which also
that might be one of the best scenes in the movie, dude.
Yeah, why are they there so late? Yeah, why are they there that late? Yeah, it's like almost midnight from what I could tell from when I was watching the movie. I was like, why are you still there working? And who's your boss that's approving all this overtime? Yeah. I would have had my head ripped off.
Yeah. What a scene. And that's another one where you're just a lot of tension because there's so many things in that warehouse that you think, oh, that's going to do it. No, that's going to do it. And then you get what you get and you're like, that was kick-ass.
Yeah. No, that was bad. Did not see it coming, but you know what? That's the whole point of the movie, but
I'll take it.
I'm not mad.
Yeah. I like it. But yeah, this third one, it's a pretty good installment in this franchise for sure.
Absolutely. It's, like I said, might be a hot take for now because we haven't seen Bloodlines. But for now, this is my favorite of the franchise.
That's fair. I would probably agree with you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
So it's tough to keep talking about because a lot of these movies, like once again, the effects, they stay pretty practical here. Yeah. So I'm going to put those there. We haven't gotten to the bad effects yet.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in the fourth one. So I'll put the effects here in the good. It's just tough because, these movies aren't exactly the same, but they're the same concept. So, like, you can only talk about some of the good for so long before you're just, like, re-recording two. But, no, it's a very good installment into this franchise, and I agree with you. It's my favorite of the three so far. It's my favorite of the five that we've gotten so far.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So, anything else on the good?
No.
Okay.
I think I'm good on that.
So, we can hop over to the I don't really know if I have anything to complain about this movie. It's not, like I've mentioned in the last two reviews that we've done, I guess you can put the story in the meh because it's not your greatest story, but what they're going for, I'm going to reiterate this in every movie, what they're going for, they're doing well.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, this is one where I just don't really have much to complain about, and then maybe it's the nostalgia.
I was going to say the nostalgia, I think, kind of pulls into why it's my favorite, because it's in that, like, time where a lot of things I love are still there, like how Lewis, I believe his name, the football player, how he's like, if you come to my funeral, bring me a PSP. I love the PSP.
Yeah.
And so I agree on that. The only things I have in the meh are some kind of details with the kills.
Okay.
especially with his, how they can tell that, like, they see the swords and how he's working out. Like, they just need to get him out of that room, and that's it. That's all they needed to do.
Yeah.
And he would have been fine. So why not just stress that you need to talk to him outside? But they're trying to have the conversation in the room. That's dumb. If they saw the swords, why continue the conversation walking to? And then if they saw him go to the machine that's right below them, why not tell him to get away from that? Yeah. Like, that was stupid. And then Frankie's kill. The only reason why I kind of put it in the meh is because they're at the drive-thru figuring out how Frankie dies. Mm-hmm. He's right in front of them in the drive-thru.
See, I like that they didn't know that was him.
But the thing is, but I'm more of the, like, you're telling me that you didn't look up, that while you're driving, you didn't look up once, and at the same time, Frankie didn't turn his head to, like, pay or get his food or something, or he didn't just move around. He's in a convertible.
That's
the
fair.
Top is down. You're telling me that you could, and he was wearing his same goofy hat.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me you couldn't just look up and be like, oh, is that Frankie right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they're just too consumed by themselves.
Exactly. And then the truck that's at the top of the hill, that starts it, because when they come down the hill, the truck driver is getting into it and it's facing like that way. But then he loses control of it and it's barreling down, not backwards, it's front facing coming down the hill. When did he turn it around?
I don't know if I noticed that.
That's what I noticed immediately, and I was like, why? How did he turn it around up there, and why? Because when Kevin's driving and he's trying to look at the photos, he swerves left, and the truck driver's trying to get into the truck to drive it, probably turn it around, I guess, and he almost swerves and clips him into his door, and that's when he yells at him. But then when we see the truck coming down the hill, it's not the back end of the truck, it's the front end of the truck that's coming in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I must have missed that.
But those are my only mess. Other than that,
I might add the subway scene, not because it was done poorly. I just think it was kind of a cop-out for those three.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. I could have used maybe 3 more unique ones, but
that's fair. I mean,
that's why I put it in the mix. I don't think it's bad, but I don't know. I could have used more, I guess.
Only maybe meh, I think, is another cutaway cutscene. Yeah. Another cut credit kill. Maybe we could have just seen her get flattened by the train, and then as the train comes to flatten her, it turns the screen black and then go. Like the whole train's consume the screen. But instead we just see her lock eyes with the train, and then it get like this closer, and then they roll the credits. Yeah. Like, come on. But yeah, that's all I have in the meh.
All right. Do you have anything in the bad?
No.
Okay. So we're going to hop to our final thoughts and ratings. What do you want to leave off with Final Destination 3, and what do you give it out of 10?
Final Destination 3, my final thoughts, they're biased, of course, because this is my favorite. I think it's the best one. I think if you're definitely going to watch in the installment, you should definitely watch this one, because I feel like it does enough backtracking to the previous events and everything, and it kind of stands on its own, where you don't need the previous movies to see it, like 1 and 2, and especially with how they kind of tell that story really quick, bundling up to where you feel like you don't need to. Like if you watch 2, they explain it pretty well, but it'll still feel weak if you don't watch 1. But this one I feel like you can watch on its own without doing 1 and 2 first, and you'll still have a great time.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, those are my final thoughts. Ranking wise, I would give this an 8.1 out of 10.
Okay, I'm gonna go 8 out of 10. So
okay, we're always close.
Yeah, we're right there. This is a step up from the first 2 for sure in score. So I'm going 7, 7, 8 throughout this franchise so far. And this is my favorite as well until we see Bloodlines. Yeah. It stands in the top spot for sure right now. Now we can hop over to ranking the kills. We have 9 this time, so this will be a little bit longer of a segment, but we'll start at the bottom. Mo, kick us off with your 9th.
At the bottom, I got Perry.
Okay.
Julie's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got hers. Not a lot of build up to hers unless we finally realize it, and it was pretty much coming away from a mile that horse was going to absolutely spear somebody. Yeah. But then once we find out it's her, there's no significance to her character much other than being attached to the inner circle. Yeah. Through mutual friendship, so she's at the bottom for me.
That's fair. 9th, I'm going Wendy's. It's the same thing as Carter for me. We
Yeah.
don't get to see it. It's last for me.
That's fair. I was gonna say I was just complaining about
What
it.
if she stood up and just stopped the train? No, I'm kidding. But
Okay, we're gonna take a complete turn.
Yeah. Post-credit scene.
Yeah.
She's Iron Man. 8th place.
8th place, I have Lewis.
Really?
And it's mostly due to the build-up. That's why.
Interesting.
That's why
That's
it's in my
shocking to me.
man. And I mean, immediately after the wires cut, I was like, okay, makes sense that, like, you know, if something traumatic like that or something eventful like that just happened, why would you immediately start slamming the machine again?
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of head crushing
Yeah.
before, so I feel like it's that it just
That's
doesn't
fair.
do it for me. But
That's interesting. Didn't see that one coming.
and he didn't stay around for long, so that's why it's kind of like more of the character build up. Like
Yeah.
for him, I feel like I said before, the more we know about them, the more meaningful the kill is to me.
Yeah.
And as for him, we just seen him at the funerals, and he's just complaining, saying they're boring and all that, and he's just concerned about himself.
Yeah.
So that's why he's at 8 for me.
Okay. For me, in 8th, I'm gonna go with Julie.
Okay.
Again, she gets hit by a train. Cool. I needed more.
A train
I needed
wheel.
more. Yeah, I needed more.
It thread the needle
Yeah.
through the doors and took her out.
I'm not saying these kills are bad by any means.
Yeah.
We've got a really good list here.
Yeah, we do.
And
It's
these
tough.
ones just didn't do as much for me as the other ones. So Julie's coming in 8th with hers.
I think I spent like 30 minutes thinking of my list and going back and forth.
7th.
For 7th, I have Frankie.
Okay.
I have Frankie's, and I kind of elaborated on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I kind of wanted something more gruesome for him for being such a perv.
That's fair.
Yeah, I
That's
wanted
fair.
something worse for him.
Yeah. I mean, he got his brain blended. But for me in 7th, I've
More.
got Ian. He just gets smashed by an arm.
Yeah.
Like, I don't yeah. I kind of wanted something with him in the warehouse.
Yeah.
And I'd like what we get in the warehouse, but it would have been cool if we get both of them in the warehouse.
I do like his kill because it says McKinley on it, and his last name's McKinley, so he brought down himself.
That's fair. 6th place.
6th place, I have Aaron. I have Aaron's kill.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Our lists are like almost flipped.
I know. That's the fun of it.
Yeah.
I have Aaron's mostly. It's so low because I feel like she got done so dirty for no reason. I mean, not for no reason, but it didn't feel like it was supposed to be her time because, you know, they saved Ian's dumbass instead.
Yeah.
And them pushing him out of the way triggers her kill.
Yeah.
And she wasn't completely denying their theories the entire time.
Yeah.
When they were in there trying to convince them what was going on, she was listening. She was giving, like, some feedback. She wasn't being rude like Ian.
Yeah.
And then she had to pay the price for it at the end.
Yeah.
Boo. That's why it's at the bottom, near the
All
bottom
right.
for me.
Interesting. In 6th, this is where I put Perry. I can't put it any higher than this because I agree she didn't really do much to the story. She's like in 2 total scenes.
Yeah.
But I love the misdirection of like, well then who's next? And then the pole just comes out of nowhere, and to me that's just like an iconic shot of her like being staked to the ground type of like the javelin type kill.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it in 6th for that alone.
Okay.
Well, that takes us to our top 5 of Final Destination 3. What do you got in 5th?
Top 5, I got Ashley and Ashlyn's Tan Time.
In 5th?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my goodness.
They had it coming. They had it
They
coming.
had it coming.
Yeah, they did. I mean, he said no
Roller
drinks.
coaster.
He said no drinks. No drinks in there. They did it anyway, and then they locked up the shop.
Yeah.
You set yourself up.
I mean, that's fair.
And when they turned up the temperature.
They're kind of dingy, I mean.
But yeah, it's got 5th for me, and I mean, that's the main thing is it felt like it was coming, and these other ones I have above, they just hit to me more than them, and all we just know them in the movie when they die is like very brutal, but they're just the airheads of the class.
Oh, for
so
sure.
That's why they're kind of there for me. Is
That was
there's
so
no like
nice of us.
yeah, that was so nice. Like, no, it was like what to come deep fry your skin. That's not fun. That's not an activity I want to be invited to.
No, there wasn't even a 3rd tanning bed. So 6 through 9, I think, are solid. 5 up is where we start to get in the really good kills for me. And in 5th, I have Frankie. I get what you're saying with the, like, you probably could have seen him, but I love the brain blender. I think it's a crazy kill. And yeah.
I mean, a nice little touch they had was after they had still looked at him, it still sputtered a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I think it's cool, too, with the fan and the picture. I think that one has a good connection to the picture.
Yeah, the significance of the kill, definitely how it changes their gears of how they're like, we're looking at the wrong photos of each of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's the best kill by any means, but I think it's solid to put right here in the middle.
Yeah.
So, 4th place.
4th place, I have Ian.
Okay.
I have Ian. I think why it's so high for me is because of the tragedy he faces with Aaron's death and how he solely blames Wendy and all of them for Aaron's passing, because they're like, he's pretty much in that mentality of like, if you hadn't shown up to our job, talked all this like mumbo jumbo to us, then she would still be here. She would still be with me, but you guys had to come and bring whatever it is you're doing with you, and it cost her, because he starts trailing Wendy.
Yeah.
And what really adds to this kill for me is the fireworks and how they miss him. And like I said in the previous episodes, any character, and it's kind of like a pattern where they scream, "You're dead! You're dead!" They keep doing it better and better with each installment, with him screaming it and the fireworks going off in the background, and then the sign with his own name, with his own last name, to come down and beat him. And how he still kind of stayed alive after the fact that the sign came down. He just bled out from it after.
Yeah.
Like, you see, he still has enough energy to, like, put up a middle finger before he fully, like, dies. And that's why it's up there for me.
That's fair. 4th for me, I'm going to go with Kevin's evaporation. This dude is just wiped from the existence. This is easily the best kill we get in the subway crash for me. So I'm going to put Kevin here in 4th. My Disney Channel star just gets absolutely waxed by getting sucked out that train window. But
he did not have the luck of the Irish there.
No luck. 3rd place.
3rd place, I have Wendy.
Okay.
I have Wendy's.
Yeah, we are like completely flipped.
Yeah. I have Wendy's, and it's mostly because we get to actually see the person who has the visions, who started all this, die.
But we didn't.
I mean, I'm sorry, how is she going to dodge or roll around a huge train on its side? But it's the closest thing we get.
I'm just
because
saying.
Because in the first one, we don't see Alex. We find out about a brick hitting his head.
Yeah.
And then
Home Alone.
Yeah. And then in the second one, we don't see what happens to Officer Burke or to Kimberly.
Yeah.
They're just at the barbecue, and instead Brian takes their place. But
it was a wood chipper incident, right?
What?
In the 3rd movie, there's a newspaper article that says that they had a wood chipper incident and Kimberly and Burke die.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, what I meant is,
but
like,
we don't see it.
We don't see it.
They do the same thing as Alex, where it's the next movie you hear a news article. Yeah.
But this is the closest we've gotten to seeing the main character perish, and that's why it's kind of up there for me. And how we touched back to Scott Pilgrim and her. Got a soft spot.
Just love Winstead, huh?
Yeah.
That's fair. And 3rd, this is where I have Lewis. To me, when I was growing up, this, like, if you asked me as a young kid, this was probably number 1. This is probably the one that just, like, was the most memorable when I was a kid. As I've grown up and watched this movie more, it's moved down the list a little bit, but it's still a top 3 kill for me. Just the misdirection with the, you think he's going to get his head chopped off by the swords, and he's like, "See, we're good." And then he does one more rep, and it's like,
yeah, he's like, "I'm not gonna die."
Yeah.
Bang.
Yeah. I love it.
I get it. Yeah.
2nd
for me is Julie.
You got the Subway.
The Subway's okay. There, Subway's my top 3, but yeah, Julie's number 2 for me, mostly because of that wheel, that wheel from the train. With all the chaos and the cars flying, that this wheel's able to thread the needle, absolutely obliterate, like, not even like just take the top half of her off, it takes all of her, and it just flies out the next door, and that Wendy, her sister, has to see that. Gruesome.
That's fair.
Especially after she saved her during the like fair and all that.
Yeah.
But now to realize that was just in vain, because later it came back to bite him.
Yeah.
On train 180.
You love it.
Yeah, I do.
2nd, I'm going to go with Aaron. Dude, the look of it is just
Yeah.
It's the reason when I was working on my basement, I didn't want to use the nail gun.
Yeah.
I did. I faced my fears.
Took all the precautions
But like
necessary.
just like going through, I'm like, oh yeah, nail guns are gross, man.
Yeah.
Poor Erin, and like you said, I mean, she didn't deserve what she got necessarily. Ian was definitely more of a dick, but when you're talking about like the kill itself, this was a good one.
Yeah.
And then top spot.
Top spot for me is Kevin turning into hamburger meat.
Yeah.
That definitely, because I mean, in movies, especially ones that we've seen, and that we love, we've seen train incidents or ones where it's like, either a person is like being pushed up against a train while it's moving or against the wall, and it's not as gruesome. But with this one, it is insane to me, and especially with how small of a room that happens of him getting sucked in and then being that close where we just see him get turned and shredded right away. Like, it's the top one for me. And I didn't expect it at all. I figured, like, he'd go flying out of the cart or something.
Yeah.
But for it to be that, it definitely took me off there for a second.
For sure. So you remember when we talked about the second one, I said Cat?
Yeah.
Is, like, one of the top 2 in the franchise.
Yeah.
This is one of the other top 2 in the franchise. Give me Ashley and Ashlyn in the tanning beds.
Okay.
This showed me that skin cancer isn't the only thing you can get from a tanning bed. You can also die via this.
Yeah.
And this scene it's buck wild. It's Final Destination, I think, at its best. You get them singing the roller coaster after the roller coaster, which is wild, by the way. After you just lost all your friends on the roller coaster to be listening to that song, but I don't know. It's just it takes a little bit of a stretch, obviously, with the wood falling in perfectly, but like it's just a one that you watch and you're like, oh, you can feel them burn. Like it's a tough one to watch.
Or how if water falls onto the thing, it decides to increase the temperature, not just shut down completely.
Yeah.
And their reasoning for going, we really need to look our best because those kids who don't get to graduate don't get to see how good we look. Come on.
That's just 2 girls full of themselves, my man.
Yeah, I wanted to make a reference to that when we first started, when you were going to say we're continuing on this journey. I wanted to be like, maybe a love roller coaster? Yeah, I wanted to reference that.
Dude. That scene, it's a good kill. But the third one, once again, it ups the ante just a little bit more. I think the second and third one have probably the most consistently good catalog of kills.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you get 16 of them between the 2 movies, so. Which
is insane, and we got 3 more to go.
Yeah.
And one's Bloodlines.
Yeah.
Imagine how many's in that.
And what's crazy is we have no idea, like, well, obviously we've seen trailers and stuff, but it's not like we're going into these next reviews and we've seen these movies before. Bloodlines is going to be a new one, so that's what's really cool about it.
Yeah.
It's like, we haven't seen this yet.
Same day reaction.
Yeah, so, excited to get there. We're almost there.
Almost.
But that'll do it for Final Destination 3. Mo, thank you for coming on once again.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you all for watching. If you like what you're watching, check out some other videos. Hit the subscribe button or follow the social links down below. It's all appreciated. Check out 1 and 2 if you haven't already. 4, 5, and Bloodlines coming your way shortly. So stick around, and we'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.